Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from home. I got another beer review today on this hot, sweltering end of August, beginning of September evening here in Cleveland, Ohio. And the beer I have for you today is Forgotten Lake Blueberry Ale, which sounds delicious on this super hot evening here. Now, this beer is another one of the beers that came from Drew, from Beer for Breakfast, Facts for Snacks, and What's on the Grill. I know it seems like I've reviewed a lot of beers from him lately, but he gave us a whole big bag of beers back in July when we visited him. So thank you for that, Drew. Really appreciate it. Really enjoying getting through some of these beers. And we'll get back to the beer here. So like I said, this is the Forgotten Lake Blueberry Ale from Lake of the Woods Brewing Company. Kind of cool little looking can there. Little one of those water airplanes. I don't know what they're actually called, but it's those airplanes that have the big pontoons on the bottom for landing and taking off from the water. Like I said, this is a blueberry ale. Comes in at 7.1% ABV. No IBUs listed on the can. And this says 1/6/2024. So I'm guessing that's when that's canned on. So this is almost 9 months old. On the side here, it says, visit our breweries and tap rooms. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Kenora, Ontario, and War Road, Minnesota. So this is the Canadian brewery that also has a tap room in the U.S., in Minnesota. That's interesting. I don't know if I've seen a Canadian brewery that has a tap room in the U.S. or a U.S. brewery that has a tap room in Canada. So that's pretty neat. Ingredients are water, malted barley, blueberries, hops, yeast. That's cool. That's actually just straight up blueberries, not like some sort of concentrate, fake nonsense. It's just blueberries. On the back here, it says, brewed with actual blueberries, just like I just said, right? Hidden in the Lake of the Woods region on a small back lake, there exist patches of berries usually reserved for black bears and moose. A moose once bit my sister. I wonder what that's about. I'd love to hear that story. You know, moose are really huge animals. I've seen one once in the wild. They are gigantic animals, and they are nothing to mess with. This beer is subtle with a clear, fruity nose, muted blueberry, low bitterness, and medium body. Although high in ABV, its finish is smooth and well-balanced. Make it lake time. Wow. This can even lists 15 IBU and 16 on the SRMs. It's a 16 SRM. Let's see if I agree with that when I pop this in the glass here. Get right on into that, because I'm curious to see if I agree with the scientific SRM. So when untapped, it gets a 3.47 with 6.9 thousand check-ins. Beer Advocate gets an 82 good with 30 check-ins. That's not the color I expected, even though it told me what the SRM, what the color was going to be, basically. Let's get a nose on it first. Getting a little bit of blueberry. But it's not that fake blueberry, which is good. It's like blueberry fruit. Like if you had some fresh blueberries and you kind of muddled them a little bit, but then let them sit after you muddled them, maybe let them sit for 15 minutes, then you stuck your nose in it. That's kind of what I'm getting, just that faint, fresh blueberry smell and not much else out of it. You know, getting my SRM chart here. On my SRM chart, with the printer colors I have, 16 looks more brownish than this. I would have probably gone with a 17 on the SRM, because the 17 on my chart looks a little more reddish than the 16 does, and this looks fairly red, like a reddish brown. But since the can says it's 16, my eyes and my chart are probably deceiving me. I'm going to go with a 16, because that's what the can says. And there was a very thin, off-white colored head that dissipated fairly quickly, almost soda-like head that just dissipated quickly. And talking about this beer, it's making me thirsty, so I'm going to get into it. Thanks again, Drew. Cheers. Now, I've had a few different blueberry ales in my day. And some of them have been big, over-the-top, fake blueberry, like blueberry muffin kind of blueberry. And some of them have been more along the fresh fruity blueberry. This is neither. However, I like that the back of the can says muted blueberry flavor, because that's exactly what this is. You are getting some blueberry in there, but it's very muted. You do know it's there, but it's not like just punching you in the mouth, straight up blueberry. It's medium bodied for sure. Slight little bitterness and blueberry, and it's very drying. The flavors work well together. Now, I have to say, normally when I get blueberry ales, I want a big punch in the mouth blueberry. I want that blueberry to be very forward in the beer and the flavor. And had this can not said muted blueberry, I probably would have given it a let it play at best, because it's not what I expected. However, because the brewery specifically says it's a muted blueberry with slight bitterness and has a medium body, that's exactly as described. Exactly as described. So I'm not disappointed. I actually enjoy this beer. I think it's a good beer. I give it a horns up because it's exactly what the can says. The brewers said, look, it is a blueberry ale, but you're not going to get crazy blueberry out of it. It's a very fine, delicate, muted blueberry, and that's exactly what it is. Again, I would have been disappointed if I hadn't seen that blurb on the back, but knowing that that's what the brewery's going for, and this is exactly what it's supposed to be, that's why I'm giving it a horns up. I like this beer. I would drink this again. This is good for people who want a little bit of flavor in their beer, but nothing over the top sweet, nothing crazy. Might like a little bit of fruit, but you don't want it to just be like a fruit salad in your mouth. This would be something I would go for or suggest to somebody like that. And this overall is a good beer, like I said. Thank you, Drew. Really appreciate it. And as always, excuse me. Wow, it's giving me the burps. And as always, embrace the adventure.